All right. Well, here we have Nicole Bosse, our YLN ambassador, the Young Leader Network ambassador for all of Alberta right now. They're trying to find someone for Southern Alberta, but right now you're the leader for the whole province. So we realized we hadn't done a lot explaining and kind of talking about what this network is, but we're seeing the results from agents like yourself and others that are in the YLN group. So we wanted to learn more about it so other people can learn about it. So what is the YLN group?
Yeah, at its very simple core, the YLN is the younger generation of REMAX agents. So everyone under 40. And we have a big range, obviously, all across Canada. And we have super young, brand new agents, but then we also have still agents that are under 40, but that are running large mega teams, all coming together to share knowledge, to share referrals, and to work together.
Right. And I see a lot of what I'm observing, even though I'm just over that 40 mark, is like the idea sharing and the strategies, I think are quite innovative and different than a lot of, we'll call them the established realtors are like 10-year realtors. I mean, the market shifted, technology's changed, and I find generally it's more social savvy, more video forward, that these things are happening. So what are like the resources that people get if is there a cost? They don't have to pay anything, they can just join, right?
Yeah, basically, you just need to let us know that you're under 40. So when you join a REMAX brokerage and you're under 40, you can automatically be part of the YLN. And being part of it means you can join our Facebook group, which is super valuable. We're growing every day. We try to add every new REMAX agent that enters that is under 40. And through there, we're able to share information. So sometimes we'll have people post, hey, I use this video editing software. That was a good one that actually I picked up. Someone was talking about what their favorite captions were for videos. We're all shooting ideas of who had ones that were working, who had tried ones that didn't work. So we kind of talk about ideas like that. And then also on the Facebook group and being within the YLN, we have tons of opportunity for referrals. So actually in just the last couple weeks here, we have had one of here's our Facebook page here. So pinned at the top there, you'll see Matt. He created this referral map, which has all of the YLN members and their service regions. And it's a really easy way to connect with somebody when you need a referral. So the amount of time somebody will pop on and be like, hey, I need a referral for Edmonton, Alberta. And then, of course, you kind of hope that you catch it in time to put your name in. Somebody's trying to say it. Now we have this map which you can go on and you can access who is servicing those regions. And then you can reach out to them directly through there.
Great. And I think this is like one of the examples that I kind of witnessed or saw there is like, it's a different way, a more innovative way that speaks to that age group and like kind of how people use technology more and are comfortable with Google tools, right? So yeah, that's great. So Facebook group, you get added to that. You can share ideas, you can network, get referrals. And then I know you had an amazing time at I think it was the inaugural YLN like specific event, right?
Yeah, so it's technically the second one. They had one that kind of went alongside one of the kickstarts. So that's something that John and I were discussing, that people sometimes get confused with YLN versus Kickstart. So they are different. The YLN is a group that you're a part of forever until you age out of the group. We had a couple age out this year. And we hope every year, we're already planning for next year, to have YLN specific conferences. So it's just our smaller, it's more tight knit just because we are smaller group coming together. We were just in Montreal in May of this year, and it was a 3-day conference. There was just under 100 people join, and it was just the YLN members. So only agents from Canada that were under 40. And REMAX did such a great job of putting it on because they really focused our sessions on things that were relevant. So we talked lots about social media, about video, about creating really good relationships with our clients. And then one of my favorite sessions that we had there it was just a round table pretty much. We had some open questions and then we passed around the mic and we just shared information. And that was awesome because you have people in different provinces with very different markets. So our market in Edmonton is super different than the market in Toronto. But it's funny the things that you can learn from somebody who's in a market that moves much quicker and much more robustly than maybe we're used to. And on the flip side, you get a lot of agents that look to the slower or the less robust markets and they go, wow, you're really putting in the extra effort in these areas. So they pull forth ideas to take back to their markets.
Totally. I love we call it R&D, rip off and duplicate, right? It's like
100%. Yeah.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just attend these things, you'll come away with an idea or two that like can make you tens of thousands of dollars more, or service your clients better, or make your personal life better, and find life balance, or like find a tool that's saving you 10 hours a week, of a task you used to do that now you can automate. Like, yeah, that's awesome. And then
the thing I find about the YLN members or our younger agents is, one, we're super innovative. If something doesn't work, we're going to move to something else and try it again. I know I've done that with my business. And I've seen a lot of other agents do it. And when I go to any of these networking things, whether it be Tight in Edmonton or one of the bigger Activate conferences, I find one of the most valuable parts of it is when you make that connection with somebody and you're able to ask them questions and to learn about their business a little bit deeper. What I really like about the YLN is it's that, but for the entire conference, for the entire connection. So what they focused on when we were in Montreal was half of the day was we were in a conference room working on those conferencey type stuff, but the other half of the day was actually planned social activities where you were kind of forced to network, but in a way that was easy and natural. And the way that we were able to build referral partners in just 3 days, that was my first YLN only conference that I went to. Everyone was new. I was only one of 2 Edmonton agents there. And I walked away closing a deal from a referral 2 weeks or 3 weeks after I got back.
That's
just
awesome.
like that.
Yeah. And I think you were saying you've gotten like a few more, like even
yes,
since,
yeah.
right?
I got 2 more, yes, coming directly from the connections that I made in Montreal there. And I think that's a part of it being a smaller group. So I know I don't totally love networking, and I know a lot of people don't, because it feels uncomfortable, it feels unnatural sometimes, and it feels like too much pressure. And one thing that we joked about at the YLN conference was you'll see a lot of older, more veteran agents, if you want to call them, when they go to these networking events, they just hand out their card. So they just go around the table that they're sitting at and they just pass their card out and they go, oh, okay, you want something in Edmonton, just give me a call. There's no one doing that here. It was all about connecting with the agent that you liked, right? And it's funny, look how much better that works. I actually remember the people that I met, and they remember me. So when we refer our clients to them, it's a real referral rather than, oh yeah, let me flip through my Rolodex. I obviously don't have one, but let's send somebody over there because we know them, not just because we saw them in passing one time. And
so how do you, because I know like social networking obviously is still important. It's not like a one or the other, like you do both. But a lot of times people think, well, they can find me online or whatever. So what do you think is different about, and like the benefit of going to this in person? Like, I mean, I think one of them is obviously you got to go to Montreal and you make a trip of it. Like
it was also very fun. Yeah.
You get to go experience a cool city, and I think shared experience is a big part of that bonding. But like, why go to spend the money and take the time to go to a physical thing versus just online network?
Well, and that's so true, and I don't want to underplay that, is with these events and what we hope to continue into our future events is targeting things that these type of agents would like to do. So we got to do a river cruise. That was one day where we all went on a river cruise. We got lunch, we're sitting on the top, all mixing and mingling. So there's a great shared experience. Another day we went to a cabaret show. That's something we will all remember. We will all talk about. I know we weren't done talking about it for months afterwards. We thought it was the best thing ever. And then even you got the after parties where you tend to find the people that resonate most with you. And so for me, yes, I could talk to all of these agents and of course, all of the ambassadors. We have meetings every month. So I had already known who they were. But it's funny when you're sitting with somebody and you're able to pick their brain face to face and connect on a more real level, you get to, one, know the type of person that they are, and two, feel much more confident with who your clients is going to go with if you end up referring to them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so it's that reciprocal referral piece that you
Totally.
say, this is a friend of mine, they're a realtor in this city, like I know them personally, right? And so what do you think too about the what was I thinking? It's basically that idea of like the ambassador benefit, I guess. Like you build these relationships with these ambassadors. So obviously you have a higher profile, for referrals. But anybody joining can still have these same opportunities to make like personal relationship connection, right?
Totally. And I spoke on a panel in Montreal about this exactly because I am the newest ambassador on our ambassador panel. We did have 2 age out of the group. So in our panel, we had Laura Keller, and she's aging out, and I'm just coming in as one of the newer ones. So it's kind of on both sides, what Laura was able to experience and take away from being an ambassador, and what I look forward to with being an ambassador. And my biggest thing is getting agents more involved. And I put this in our personal Facebook group with REMAX River City. Coming to an event, it can be daunting and it can be overwhelming, especially if you are younger and you feel like the odds are stacked against you. If you're newer in industry, it can feel like you just have so many things that you can do, and picking what you want to do can be just like too much. So what I feel the YLN is great at is making those things and your REMAX connections much more attainable and accessible. And I think that, and this is something that we want to push more in the brand, is the value of REMAX, not only the brand to our outward facing clients, but to you as a REMAX agent, is the other agents within our network. We have such an awesome and collaborative office, but not all offices are like ours. And with the YLN group, we hope to create that collaboration and that cooperation amongst offices, amongst provinces, and amongst agents.
And do you find, I love hearing that. And I love that I generally think that age demographic wise, sub 40 tend to be more collaborative, and less closed off. But I also find, or do you find at events like this, because you're talking to someone who's not in your market, you don't really see you as potential competition, that people are a little more open about like ideas and specifics and stuff, like
100%.
Hey, we ran this ad with this working, it did super well, like you should do it in your market.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we had a couple speakers in Montreal. The first was talking about how he became viral on TikTok and on Instagram, and he was showing us literally the procedure to do it. Here's where I have my idea, here's how I filmed it, here's how I edited it, and here are my results. Pulling up the results straight in front of us. And to be honest, he was a Toronto agent, and there were plenty of Toronto agents in the room, but he understood that his humor and his demographic and his clientele that he's going to reach is going to be different than the other Toronto agent that was sitting across from him. And I think that's what our office is very much like anyways. And then we had another presentation on how to keep your clients committed to you and having a really valuable referral program. And he was literally bringing the physical items that he gives to his clients at each step of the process. And he sent us a PDF of where we could buy this stuff on Amazon, how we can design the boxes, how we can design the bags, literally everything. So we could just take it home and do it.
That's R&D at its finest right there.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it's funny because somebody did ask him, shot up their hand, like, why are you giving this all to us? And he said, 1, I'm full of business. I'm busy enough. I'm not worried about it. And he said, because he follows this process, that his clients are going to keep coming back to him. And 2, he was in Vancouver, and he's like, who's going to think of me when they need a referral for Vancouver? Because I just gave you so much. And everyone's like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah. But that's awesome. I love, it's like creating that environment. And really the other reality of it that we know, and we do the same thing at the brokerage level, is that I can give someone the complete playbook and give it to which I've done before, and maybe 10% of people will take any action on it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not relevant to them, maybe it doesn't resonate, whatever, but doesn't fit their business model, whatever it might be. But even if it does, they're like, they have to put effort in. They gotta, even though that guy made it easier, you still got to buy all the stuff and organize it and implement it in your business. So it's a lot. I think a lot of these things are ideas, and then you pick and choose from the ideas what's a fit for you.
Yeah.
But I love this group for creating more relevant content for each other. Like, I think the idea sharing and the strategies and like the collaboration and the values in the network, the network is the value, right? Is like each other is where most of the value comes from. And specifically for in Alberta, because we're getting so many people moving here right now, it's a real advantage. But
and there's something to be said. I know that we have some haters, we can call them, that are like, oh, why do we have a group that's just for people under 40? Is that ageist or whatever? And we talked about this at the conference. It's like, this challenges that I face as an under 40 agent and a female, let's put it like it is very different than an older 40 years in the business male agent. How he's going to operate his business is going to be very different than how I need to operate my business to be successful. And for me, sure, having conversations with really successful veteran agents is great. But at the end of the day, I need to figure out how to move my needle forward that's different than somebody else's. And that's what I like about this group, is it's much easier to find those people. When you're surrounded by everybody that's in the kind of the same demographic and thinks the same way as you, it's much easier to find those ideas to actually work with that make them easier to implement. That's awesome. And it's not to say that your ideas, John, aren't great, but maybe it means more to me when I talk to my new friend in Montreal who's killing the game and she tells me how she did it. Then I resonate more with that, and I'm much more enthused when I get home to implement those things.
Totally. And it's like, it's social proof. Like once you see that might just be, that's when we talk about it all the time, these events, you get motivation. Sometimes the motivation comes from seeing someone else's success and you going, geez, I could do that. Yeah. Like, and they're having so much success. I think I'll double my business next year too by implementing this. Or maybe just the motivation to like do the work or build the confidence to know, hey, this is, someone else has done it. That's like gives me permission to know it's possible, right? But it's awesome. And now, is there anything specific around Activate as well with the
and we hope to carry this every year. We have an YLN event happening prior to Activate, so the day before our official program starts. And it's a great way for newer agents or younger agents to, one, connect with each other, and two, kind of like settle into the conference. I know I went to Activate back when it was in Banff, and it's big. For me, that was the first conference that I had been to, and it was very large. And so being somebody that doesn't feel natural in that position, I felt a little bit awkward. But with these YLN meetups, we're doing like a drink dinner kind of thing on the Tuesday, and we hope to do it every year. So we can kind of connect. It's funny, I told my husband before I went to Montreal, I was like, I hope I find a buddy for the conference. Like, you always want to have a little conference buddy. Well, I found definitely more than one conference buddy. But what we hope to do at Activate is do the same for agents that maybe have not met the rest of the YLN network, who are new to the YLN network, or even to the brand of REMAX. So you can find those buddies, you can find those connections that you can keep coming back to for the rest of the conference. And then we hope to build your referral line down the road.
That's awesome. And you know what? I mean, I think it's a human nature. Like, everyone's like that. I have a much better time at any conference when I go with Shane, my business partner. Yeah. Because you just I'm more outgoing. I find I network better just because I have the person that sort of I can find in the room if needed, right? It's the same with your spouse or partner or whatever. But the funny thing that I think, observing as a broker attending these over the last, decade plus, is all those veteran agents actually did the exact same thing. Like, they still come back to conference with someone that they've been going to conference with for like 10 years, 15 years. Like, they have conference friends and buddies, and it grows. So I think this is just its new version now. It'll turn into that, because eventually everyone will age out, and then
no, of course we're all gonna
Yeah.
And like, I remember when I went to Activate the first time, I mean, John, you and Shane both told me, try not to hang out with people from the office. I went with a friend from our office as well. Did I listen to you guys? No. Because I felt more comfortable with who I came with. I didn't really want to push myself out of my comfort zone. We were both kind of in the same position, so we didn't want to do that. When I went to Montreal, I went by myself. I didn't know any other agents that were there, so I was forced to do that. And that's what I find really exciting about what we hope to do at future conferences with the YLN, is give people that kind of like safety and that comfort so that we can help them build that confidence. Because it's true, somebody at my office is not going to give me a referral. Like, let's just be real.
Sometimes,
Maybe sometimes, yeah. But my friends who I meet from Ottawa or from Vancouver are much more likely, especially now with Alberta, to send me referrals my way if I make a connection with them.
Plus, I think one of the cool things, you now made a friend in a different city and different part of the country, right? Like,
oh yeah, when I go to Ottawa, I now have a friend. He runs a great team there, and I learned so much from him about how he runs his team and how he built his team. But he has a boat in Ottawa on the lake, and he's like, anytime you come down, you can come on. We can do a day on the boat. So that's also good too.
Exactly, that's amazing. Well, thanks so much. So we'll put some links to everything, and then if someone wants to join the group, who do they contact? Do they contact their broker? Do they contact you?
Yeah, so they can do either. They can contact their broker or they can contact me. If you're on Facebook, you can shoot me a message. It's at Nicole Bosse, and I can add you to the group. We can introduce you. We can get you on that map so that your name is listed under the areas that you service. And then once you're part of the YLN, I just encourage everyone to try to participate as much as they can. So if you have questions, shoot them on the Facebook group. If you see somebody post something that you're interested in or you think that you could learn from, you can send them a message directly. I know all of the ambassadors love that. We would love if people messaged us and asked us questions, even about our service area or what we're doing on social media. We're all an open book, and I know almost everybody in the group is as well.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again. I think this was super informative, and thanks again.
Yeah, thanks. Hope to see a lot more YLN members soon.